All right, friends, we are going to talk about a sad sales week. And guess whose fault it is that this week of sales was so sad? Mine. All mine. Because listing is still really bad. I asked you guys to yell at me. And some of you did such a good job of yelling at me, and I still just did not list. So I don't know. And you're going to see that reflected in this week's sales. So let's get into it. Hi, everyone. My name is Becky Park. I'm a part-time reseller, and as of late, very part-time. My full-time job is as a high school choir teacher. And also, my job as mother has gotten so much more intense. And it is the best job. I love being a mom, but I've got 2 kids. My daughter does gymnastics. It's like competitive gymnastics, so there are meets all the time. And we're at the end of meet season, but like the beginning of the year, like January and February are always like very heavy with meets. And she also played volleyball for her middle school for the first time. She made the 7th grade team as a 6th grader. So, oh my gosh, like we were at 2 or 3 games a week for volleyball. My son also does competitive gymnastics. So he is also finishing up his meet season, and he also does basketball at the Y. And they're just really busy kids, and they are great kids. And the things that they do are super fun. But man, it takes a lot of time out of the day. And I just find that I have a lot less time to do things like list. I think maybe I'll get a little bit more back into the swing of things with, like I said, their gymnastics season being over. My daughter's volleyball season ended, but she just picked up club volleyball. So we'll see. I don't know. It's crazy. But you did not come here to hear me talk about my kid's schedule. Just wanted to share with you what was going on in my life. But we're going to talk about the week of February 17th through the 23rd. Oh, it was rough. Okay, so we're going to start by talking about the 17th of February, which is a Monday, and that was President's Day. I had no school. I think I had no school. I had no school on President's Day, and I made 2 sales, 2 very patriotic sales. The first one was on eBay, and it was this Tommy Bahama pair of lightweight stretch khakis in a men's size 36 by 34. They sold for $24.99 on eBay. I was running a sale mainly because it was President's Day, and I knew that all of the major retailers would be running sales. So kind of in order to compete with them, kind of because people are trained in times like, President's Day weekend or Black Friday, like people are just trained to want a good deal. So I did run a sale. Maybe it was like 30% off or something like that. It was also promoted at 3%. So that I had $3 into. I don't remember where I got those. I'm pretty sure from some consignment store. And so my net profit on those was $16.99. My other President's Day sale was on Poshmark, and it was this really great pair of J. Crew pointed toe slingbacks. They were made of a patent leather, and although the patent leather was kind of like a pinky beige almost, the heel was made of leopard print, and it was like calf hair, I would say. Those were in a women's 7.5. They sold for $42. I had $4.50 into them, and I had purchased them at the end of November during a local consignment store's 80% off clearance sale. So I only had those listed for maybe a month or 2 because I don't think I got around to listing them right away when I first purchased them at the end of November. So my net profit was $29.10, which I'm very happy with. I'm always looking to make at least a $20 profit. That's my goal. And to make $29.10 profit on a pair of J. Crew shoes, I thought was really great. And the main reason I picked those up is because leopard print right now is just very trendy. People are really excited about it. Even maybe it was 2 days ago, I sold a 3-piece bundle, and 2 of the pieces in that bundle had leopard print. So I'm definitely seeing an uptick of things with leopard print on them selling well. I actually have more things that sold this week that had leopard print. So definitely if you're sourcing and you see leopard print and that item is kind of trendy and cute, even if it's not that trendy, honestly, like there were some things that I didn't think were that trendy, but they had leopard print and they did really well. But also maybe I'm selling more leopard print because I'm picking up more leopard print. Like I don't know. But the next day of sales that we'll talk about is Tuesday, February 18th. On eBay, I sold this pair of Talbot's blue and white seersucker striped pants in a women's size 4. Those sold on eBay for $20. They were promoted at 3%, and I had those for a while. I got them at a local consignment store in October of 2023. So those were not a quick flip. I only had $2 into them because at that time, that local consignment store was doing a $2 tag sale. So my net profit on those was $12.04. I will say that I had another pair of seersucker pants from Talbot's, blue and white striped, that just sold for me yesterday. I just am a sucker for seersucker. Do you see what I did there? I just think it's such a timeless, classic, preppy print, and I don't know, I really like it, so I'm prone to pick it up when I see it. It doesn't always sell fast, but it just kind of makes me happy. And then on the 19th of February, which was a Wednesday, I had one really great sale this week, and it was over on eBay. It was this pair of new with tags half days. So if you've been watching my channel, you've heard me talk about this brand. It's like an outdoor adventure, more like skiing, snowboarding brand, but these were the Alessandra pants. They were like ski or snowboarding pants in the color lightning. So they were basically like highlighter yellow in a women's size medium. I got a bunch of these snowboarding pants from a local athletic store. I got them in a variety of sizes. I got maybe just 2 different colorways. I think this was my last pair to sell, if I'm not mistaken. They sold on eBay for $199.90. They were promoted at 3%, and that was an offer that I sent out to watchers just because I definitely wanted to get rid of these before we got through with skiing season. And I'm not a big skier, but it seems like you can ski all the way through spring break maybe. So like maybe mid-March, and then you got to put those skis away. And I didn't want to be stuck with like such a bulky item, and especially something that I had so much money into. I didn't want to be stuck with it into the next season. I had $62.48 into these. And like I said, I bought multiples of this pant. So I probably had close to $300 into all of these like style pants that I purchased that day. But it paid off because my net profit was $104.75. I wish at this point that I had bought more. I think I tried to like restrain myself because I didn't have any experience with this brand or with this particular type of snowboarding pants. And so when I was at the store, I searched so many comps. I looked at the sell-through rate. Someone left a comment actually on a recent video of mine. They're like, you never talk about sell-through rate. Like, is that just not something that you think about when you're outsourcing? To be honest, it's not really something that I think about that much unless it's something that I have to spend a lot of money on. And the reason why I don't think about sell-through rate that much is because I'm honestly okay if something takes a year to sell because I have a lot of space in my house. And that is not everyone's business model, and that's okay. Like some people are like, I refuse to buy something unless the sell-through rate tells me that I'm gonna be able to sell it right away. Other people don't care as much. I personally just don't care as much, but when I care is when I am being asked to spend a lot of money on that item. Then you better believe I'm looking at the sell-through rate. And for this particular style of pants, there were many that had sold for so much, like close to retail price, and just not that many listed. And that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna spend $62.48 on these. Most of them sold within that first month of being listed. When did I get these? I got these like at the end of November. I sold a lot of them in December. I sold a handful in January, and in February, I sold my last one. So yes, I did pay attention to sell-through rate because I was spending so much money. If I'm spending $2 on something and it's gonna take me a year to sell it, again, that's my personal business model. I'm okay with it. Or if I'm selling stuff from like in my house, if I'm gonna make money on something that I wore or my husband wore or my kids wore, even if I'm not gonna make that much on it, even if it's gonna sit in my inventory bins for a while, again, I'm okay with it. That's just my business model. And then on the 20th of February, which was a Thursday, I had one Poshmark sale. It was another leopard print item. So it was this Chico's leopard print pull-on draped maxi skirt. It was in a women's size 12, and I put the word glam in the title. That sold for $17 on Poshmark. I had $3 into it from a local consignment store's $3 tag sale, so my net profit was $10.60. I picked that up on January 21st, 2024. So this was barely listed, like a month and a half maybe? Again, I probably would not have picked this up if it were not a leopard print. Did it sell well because of the leopard, or am I just selling more leopard because I'm picking up more leopard? I don't know, but it did sell pretty fast, so there you go. And then I did have a couple $0 sales days, so no sales on the 21st, no sales on the 22nd, but on the 23rd, which was a Sunday, I had my first Mercari sale in a while. Like Mercari, what is going on with you? Let me know down in the comments if you sell on Mercari. Are you doing well over there? Are you selling anything? I am not. Man, it's really rough. But I sold my next leopard print item. It was by the brand And the Y. I don't know what this is. Again, I picked this up because it was leopard print. But it was this leopard print sweater. It had like puff sleeves and it was in a women's size medium/large. I put words like feminine and boho on the listing title. I also put that it had a ribbed cuff. That sold on Mercari for $18. That was an offer that I got on Mercari. I had $3.13 into it, and so my net profit was $12.35. The story of how I got this item I think is pretty cool, and I think I'm gonna have a lot of sales from this particular haul coming up soon because this is the haul that I've been listing from. But at the end of December, I went with my mom and my mother-in-law to one of my local consignment stores that I frequent all the time. And the owner saw me there after I had been there for like 30 or 40 minutes. I brought like a pile of clothing to the register that I had found, and I said hi to her because, I shop there all the time and we're very friendly at this point. And I asked if I could put, all the clothes on the register. I told her I'm gonna get all this stuff. I just needed to have my hands free so that I could do more shopping. And she was like, "Are you shopping the sales racks in the back?" Which obviously I was. I think they were doing like 70% off of everything in the back. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm shopping the sales racks." And she was like, "Okay, could you do me a favor?" She was like, "Our racks are so full right now." Not the sales racks. She was talking about like the regular racks. She's like, "There's so much stuff on here that needs to go on sale. We just haven't had the time to pull it." She's like, "I'm just going to start pulling that sale stuff right now. And then do you mind like looking through it and seeing if there's anything else that you want? And if there is, we can go back to our old like COVID deal that we did with you, because this is the consignment store that I shopped at during COVID. They would let me into their storage unit by myself because, it was COVID and everyone was scared to be around other people. I would go in there by myself. I would pull items that I wanted, throw them in like big black garbage bags or like boxes, and then I would bring it to their store and I would just kind of show them like through the window how many bags I had in my trunk, and they would charge me $50 a bag." And she's like, "We can just go back to that model again if you're comfortable with it. Like you can just throw stuff in a bag and we'll just charge you like $50 for the bag or whatever." And I was like, "Of course." So she starts pulling stuff from these very overly stuffed racks for me to shop from. And as she's pulling them, I'm just kind of looking through the pile and pulling the things that I want at a super discounted price. And at one point I had looked at everything she had pulled and, she was doing the best that she could, but it takes a while to look at each tag and to look at the date that, they're trying to sell stuff by. My mother-in-law and my mother were still shopping happily. And so I asked her, I'm like, "Well, what is it that you're looking for? Because if you show me, I can go through some of these racks with you and I'll just pull those items as well. I'll put them in a pile for you to check first to make sure that I did it properly. And if you approve of that pile, then I can go through and, pull out of those things." And she was like, "Oh my gosh, are you sure?" So she kind of showed me on each tag, like what to look for. There were all these different dates, but if the last date was a certain date, I don't remember which date it was, but if it was a certain date or later, then those were the items that you could pull. So I started, because I'm smart, I started in the athletic section where they have like leggings and sports bras and stuff like that, because they do have a lot of Lululemon, they have a lot of Aloe, a lot of Beyond Yoga. So I started there and I was finding a ton of stuff that, were past that particular date. It's almost like expired milk or something. Like you have to just look at that expiration date. So I was pulling a ton of stuff, making a pile. She would check the pile, be like, "Yep, all of that is good." And then I would just start pulling from the pile that I had made myself. I brought home, I don't remember how many pieces, like 100 something pieces that day. A lot of it was stuff that I found myself that was actually on sale. Some of it was already on the sales racks. But that was amazing. And that only happened because I'm a good shopper. Like I'm a good customer. And when I say good, I'm not talking about I just spend a lot of money with them, although I do, I spend so much money with them, but also like I'm just good to them. Like I'm friendly. I try to start conversations with them. I never overstep my boundaries. I try to be as respectful as possible. And I told her when I left, I was like, "Dude, if you ever run into this again, like call me. I will come and help you clear these racks. Like I will go through if you just show me what it is that I need to be on the lookout for. Like, I can figure out how to get these racks lighter for you." And she's like, we will call you. So I feel like honestly, I could every now and then just call and be like, "Hey, do you want me to come and help you clear your racks a little bit?" And I think almost every time she would say yes. Just be a good shopper. Frequent places that you like as often as you can and just be respectful, be the best shopper that you can be. Just be someone that other people want to be around when you're in those spaces. And maybe you can create situations like this for yourself as well. But you're going to hear a lot about sales coming from that particular haul because I picked up a lot of things from there. And this was one of the first items that I listed because it was kind of wintry. And and because of the leopard print, but there are more sales from this haul to come. And this was like a whatever brand. And the Y, no, I don't know what that is. It's probably like an Amazon brand or something. But I still sold it for $18 and made $12.35. So there you go. And then on Poshmark, I sold this Toad & Co. gray Muse I think was the style name, cap sleeve ruched v-neck dress in a women's size large pocket. In a, that's not a size. In a women's size large, and it had a pocket. That sold for $25 on Poshmark. I had $5 into it from a different local consignment store. I purchased that during a 75% off sale in September. So that one's been listed for a decent amount of time, but happy that it sold. And my net profit was $15. And then finally on eBay, I sold this pair of vintage Polo by Ralph Lauren blue linen blend pants in a men's size 29 by 32. They had carpenter pockets. Where did these come from? I don't know. And when I don't know, I just say that my cost of goods was $3 because my average cost of goods usually is around that $3 mark. I also kind of feel like maybe I could have gotten this from my mother-in-law, so I'm not exactly sure. I priced these at $50 because they were insanely cool. And there were a few comps. There were a few very similar or maybe even like the same item, being listed, and they were priced around like $50. I got so many lowball offers on this, which is how I knew that like it's a good item. People want to try to get the best deal that they can. So this guy on Poshmark kept offering me, maybe it was like $25 or $28 or something like that. I think the lowest that I would go was $30, and I kept countering 30, and he would come up $1 at a time. I think he was at like 26 or 28 or something, and he got so frustrated, so mad with me, and he messaged me something along the lines of, "Don't you want to sell these? Can you at least offer discounted shipping or something?" At that point, I just stopped responding to him because I was like, you're just being rude at this point. And if you really want them, then pay what I'm asking. Like I can wait it out. Like clearly you really want these. I'm okay sitting on these for like a year if I need to. And then on eBay, I got a $30 offer, which I happily accepted because this guy was not rude. He just sent me a very reasonable offer at $30. I happily accepted. He also paid for shipping and stuff. And fees on eBay are less than they are on Poshmark. So I was like, yep, you can have them for $30. I made, let me look for it.
3 hours later.
I made a net profit of $23.27 on those. Where did they come from? I don't know. I don't know where they came from. But that's everything that I sold this particular week. It was a rough week, like I said. But let's get into my numbers regardless. On eBay, I sold 4 items this week, and that was for a gross sales amount of $305.72. The majority of that was those snowboarding pants. My cost of goods for those 4 items was $70.48, and so my net profit on eBay was $157.05. I sold 1 item on Mercari for $18. My cost of goods was $3.13, and so my net profit was $12.35. And then on Poshmark, I sold 3 items for a gross sales amount of $84. I had $12.50 into those items, and so my net profit on Poshmark was $54.70. So in total, I only sold 8 items that week for a gross sales amount of $407.72. I had $86.11 into those items, and my net profit for the entire week was $224.10, which is so very sad, but it is what it is. That's what happens when you decide that you're just not going to list anymore. And I do like to tell you nowadays how much I earned for the year thus far. I did not do that math yet, so let me do that right now and I'll be right back with you.
3 days later.
So that brings me to a total net profit of $3,242.76 for the year 2025 thus far. I'm coming in right after that last week of what sold because I decided, and I'll tell you why here in a second, I decided to just go ahead and film like the next, 4 weeks worth of what sold videos all in one go. And that's because I got behind, because, let's see, we went on vacation for a week. We went to Austin for spring break, which was really cool. And within our trip to Austin, we had a day trip to Waco because, Waco, Joanna Gaines, Fixer Upper, all of the things. And we had a day trip to San Antonio to see an NBA game with the Spurs versus the Knicks. We wanted to see Wemby. Wemby, unfortunately, was injured, so we didn't get to see him. But it was a fun game, and we like checking out different like arenas and stadiums and just going to NBA games. When we got back, I had every intention of filming a ton of videos, getting caught up on my what sold videos, and instead I got inundated with just lots of stuff at school. We had a talent show, which went really well, but like planning for that and just all of that took a toll on me. And then I got a horrible case of vertigo, which honestly I'm still struggling with right now. Like everything is just kind of spinny, dizzy, and my eye is like swollen right here. So I don't know, it's just been a series of just crazy things happening, some good, some very awful, like just feeling the world spin around me has not been very fun, but we're gonna sit here and get through like 4 more weeks, I think, of what sold, and it's gonna go quick because these what solds were pretty rough, so let's get into it. All right, we're gonna start by talking about the week of February 26th through March 2nd. And let's see, this was a pretty normal week except for the fact that I just wasn't listing very much. But we'll start by talking about the 26th of February, which was a Wednesday, which means on Monday and Tuesday I had no sales. But on the 26th on eBay, I sold this pair of J. Crew Factory Boardwalk double strap silver vegan leather sandals in a women's size 8. I actually own these same sandals. They're not very comfortable. And I got these actually from a colleague of mine at work. We have a consignment deal where if I sell her items for under $25 of net profit, then I give her 40% of the profit that I earned on that item. If I make over $25 of net profit, then I give her 50%. This pair of sandals sold for $17.99, so clearly I did not make more than $25 of net profit on these. So I gave her cut of, I didn't write it down. Okay, hold it up.
3 days later.
All right, I'm back. So those sold for $11.99 on eBay. I think I said $17.99 earlier, and that was, what is going on? Those actually sold for $11.99 on eBay. I think I said $17.99 and I misspoke. They sold for even less. So they sold for $11.99. I gave my coworker $3.26 for those. That was her 40% cut. And I made a net profit of $4.89. So was it worth listing those sandals? No, but I did it to be nice. And now I am rewarded for my kindness with $4.89. The next day of sales was actually on the 28th of February, which was a Friday. Again, this was a rough week, guys. And what I sold that day on eBay was this new with tags Oshkosh Bagosh blue cardigan in a baby girl size 24 months. I put like classic and oh my God, I thought I wrote the word beige, but I wrote the word basic. It's like my eye is so swollen that I can't see out of it. And I know it doesn't really look swollen, but I feel it right here. But anyway, I put the word basic in there, I guess. That sold for $5.59, and that's because I was running a 30% off sale. I'm saying that was my daughter's. I actually don't know if it was because it was new with tags. I think we would have had her wear this, but I don't think I had any money into it. I think someone gave it to us for free, maybe for my daughter to wear, and we just never got around to putting her in it. So my net profit on that was $3.73. Also, as a result of my 30% off sale on eBay, that same day, I sold this pair of T. Tahari black mid-rise dress pants in a women's size 4. I put words like office and professional and career in the listing title as keywords just to, hopefully draw attention to that listing to people who are looking for those kinds of clothing. They sold for $13.99. Again, that was because of my 30% off sale. I had $3 into them from I don't really know where, so I just put $3 because that's kind of my average cost of goods. I have a feeling though, actually, that I got those from my mother-in-law. We're just gonna say $3 though, which makes my net profit $8.29. Gonna drink some coffee, hold on. All right, moving on. Thankfully, I had a pretty decent sale on March 1st, which was a Saturday. And actually, I had a good number of sales on Saturday, but the first thing that sold was over on Whatnot. I know most people think of Whatnot as a live selling platform where you have to do live shows and people bid on items, but they actually have a marketplace as well. You can list things to their marketplace that people can search for the way that they would on eBay or Poshmark. They can send you offers on your items in your marketplace the same way that they would on eBay or Poshmark, and they can buy things outright. So like last summer, I went through the process of putting a ton of my stuff, especially my older items, on Marketplace, on whatnot. And I've been very pleasantly surprised by the number of sales that I've made through Marketplace, especially because you just kind of list it and forget it. This was one of those sales. It was this pair of Nike Shox TL Nova White Barely Grape sneakers in a women's size 11.5. I did also put the style number in the listing title because some people do search for Nike items by the style number because Nike makes it really easy to find their style number. I think I had these listed for like $200 on all platforms. And I was very content with just like waiting around for them to sell. I ended up selling them full price on Whatnot for $100 because like I said, I was putting stuff over on Whatnot that had just kind of been in my possession for a while, and these definitely were something that I'd had for a little bit, was willing to move for less. So someone bought it outright at $100 after they sent me, I think, a $70 offer, and I just like didn't see it. And then I think they were getting these as a present for someone, so they just went ahead and bought it outright so that they could make sure that they got these shoes in time. I had $45 into them from a Plato's Closet back in June of 2023, which is why I priced them as high as I did. And at the time, I had only purchased them for that much because there were some comps showing that they could sell for that $150 to $200 something range. Mine just didn't sell for that much. It might be because they were so big, like in an 11.5. The bigger you get in shoe size or the smaller you get, you know, the more narrow your search of people who are looking for that particular pair of shoes in that particular size. So I had $45 into them. I ended up making a net profit of $43.28. And you know what? I'm happy with it. Like, I almost doubled my money. It took a couple of years, but it is what it is. Also, if you hear just like craziness around me, there is a crazy windstorm happening right now. I'm just like watching everything blow around me as if I'm in the Wizard of Oz and there's like a tornado. It's very like sunny and beautiful out, just so windy. All right, but the next thing that sold on the 1st of March was over on eBay, and it was this pair of Zara black, faux leather black, high-waisted pleated tapered pants in a women's size extra small. Those I got at a clothes mentor in January of 2024. So they did take about a full year and some change to sell, and they sold for $17.49. Again, that was part of my 30% off sale on eBay. They were also promoted at 3%, but I only had $2.80 into them. I made a net profit of $13.61. And I had actually picked those up for myself, I remember, but when I got them home and I tried them on, they just didn't fit me right. So I ended up listing them and I was happy with that sale. Also on eBay, I sold another pair of pants. This was by the brand Sundance. They were the Le Meridian embroidered pants. They were cropped and brown and just had like a very flowy boho aesthetic to them. They were in a women's size petite small. I actually got those in September of 2024. I got them as part of a 75% off clearance sale. And so I only had $3.25 into those. They sold for $22.39. They were promoted and they were on, you know, that 30% off sale through eBay that I was running at the time. So my net profit on those was $16.94. And they only took, you know, a handful of months of being listed before they sold. Also on the 1st on eBay, I sold this Coach Madison Tribeca black leather shoulder bag. It had like a chain strap. It was lined. I put the word classic in there as a keyword because it was very classic. That sold for $27 on eBay. I got it from my mother-in-law in March of 2024. It was just something that she had laying around the house and wasn't using anymore. And she was like, you should just list this. So I did. I didn't have any money into it. So my net profit was $24.88. And then the last sale of that day on eBay was this pair of Childhood's green gusset pants in a youth size 4T. I put words like sweatpants, joggers, school, play, all of those words in the listing title. And if I remember correctly, they did have some wear on the knees, which I feel like just happens to a lot of kids' pants. You know, they're just running around, playing, like crawling on their knees all the time. So you get kind of that fading around the knee area, which is why I put the word play in the listing title. But those were pants that my son had worn a lot. Like Childhood's pants and PJs are probably among his favorite. They're just so comfortable. They're made of great materials. They're just very soft. So anytime he has any Childhood's pieces in his closet, he always gravitates towards those. So I'm not surprised that they had some wear to them. And I know I got these secondhand probably on Kitizen back in the day. Sometimes I'd pick up childhood's pieces on Mercari, but I sold those for $9.90. Again, that was because of the 30% off sale that I was running. But on top of that, I sent an additional offer that was lower than that 30% off sale price because I just wanted to move them. And so someone accepted my offer of $9.90. My net profit was $7.96 on something that my son wore, which I'm happy with. Now I can put those towards a new pair of childhood's pants for him. And when I say a new pair, I mean new to him, but pre-owned, because I'll probably get it on Poshmark or eBay or wherever. And then moving on to the 2nd of March, which was a Sunday and the last day of sales for this particular week. On Poshmark, I sold this pair of Eddie Bauer brown light academia slip-on loafers in a women's size 7.5 W. I put words like preppy and classic in the listing title. Those sold for $22. I had $385 into them from a reseller buyout that I did in June of 2023. So I've had those for a while, and my net profit was $13.75. Eddie Bauer is not one of those brands that I fall over myself to pick up when I'm out thrifting. If it shows up at my house as part of a buyout or something, I will consider listing it, but I have a hard time making a lot of money selling Eddie Bauer, which is why generally I leave it alone. But also on the 2nd on Poshmark, I sold this J. Crew Point Sur, which was kind of their nautical, just coastal line that they had. Do they still have it? I don't know. But this was a denim blue chambray lace trim blue pullover. I had the word blue in the listing title twice, so waist of 4 characters in a women's size small. I had purchased that at Clothes Mentor in January of 2024, along with those Zara faux leather pants. I had $260 into that top as well, and my net profit a year after purchasing the item was $17.40. And then the last sale of this particular week of sales was over on Poshmark. It was this pair of Free People Tencel denim flare mid-rise jeans in a women's size 26. I put words like Western and boho in the listing title as well. I had purchased those at the end of 2024 as part of a Black Friday sale at one of my favorite local consignment stores. They were on 80% off clearance. I had $5 into them, but when I got them home, I noticed that there was a lot of wear, a lot of damage on the hem of the pants. Clearly, these were too long for whoever owned them, and I recognize that kind of flaw that happens on the back of a pair of pants, all of that heel drag, because I have the shortest legs on the face of this planet. My legs are just so disproportionately short to my body, I feel like. And forever, especially when I was in high school and stuff, I was stepping on the hem of my jeans. I don't really feel like when I was in high school in the 90s that short sizes or petite sizes, they just were not as much of a thing as they are now, especially when you're shopping at places where teenagers shop. And so I just remember all of my jeans had a lot of heel drag on them. And that's what happened on these. The person wearing them was just a little too short for these jeans. I didn't notice that till I got home. Otherwise, I would not have picked them up for $5. But I ended up selling them for $20. My net profit was $11. And the good news is that they just didn't take as long to sell as I thought they would. And I was very thankful for that. So for this particular week of sales, I had 7 eBay sales for a gross sales amount of $152.35. My cost of goods for those items was $9.05, and my net profit on eBay was $83.56. On Whatnot, I had a $100 sale with a cost of goods of $45 for those Nikes, and my net profit was $43.28. And on Poshmark, I sold 3 items for a gross sales amount of $67. I had $11.45 into those 3 items, and my net profit was $42.15. So in total, I sold 11 items this week for a gross sales amount of $319.35. I had $65.50 into those items, and my net profit was $168.99. So for the year at this point of March, this was March 2nd, my total net sales at that point in time was $3,411.75. So that's the first week of sales done. If you want to take a break by hitting that like button or by subscribing, this would be a great time to do that. But let's go ahead and jump into the next week of sales, which was March 3rd through the 9th. So on the 3rd of March, which was a Monday, I actually had a sale over on my website, which is shopbeckypark.com. That is a website that I started a couple years ago, and I was doing these like monthly drops. And honestly, it was just one of those things that was really hard to keep up with. I just keep paying monthly for the domain just so I can keep it, and in hopes that I'll figure out like what exactly it is that I want to do with it. I just have my hands in too many pots right now. So right now I just have what is on there, like it's still running as a site. And I don't know if this is a viewer that came in and purchased this item, or if someone just kind of found it organically through searching for this item on Google. But I sold this pair of Nike Air Max XC Power Up Particle Gray Black Cyber sneakers in a youth kid size 5. And now that I'm looking at them, I kind of wish I'd kept them for myself. They were really cute. But these sold on my website for $34.95. I had $6.39 into them from a local Goodwill. I got them in 2022, so I had them for a while. Probably had them priced a little too high, but like I said, thankfully someone came in and purchased them. And then my net profit after my cost of goods, after paying for shipping for the item, because I do pay for shipping on all of my website orders, and after Shopify's very, very, very small fees, I made a net profit of $19.58 on those. It only took, 2.5 years. Also on March 3rd on Poshmark, I sold this new with tags J. Crew Factory Sage Green sweater polo. It had short sleeves and it was in a men's size medium. I did put the word classic in the listing title. I thought this was really cool. I got it from Reseller Supply Co. In October of 2024. It's a place where you can purchase wholesale items for your reselling business. They do a lot of like liquidation, and they have, items by brands like J. Crew Factory, Madewell. They get like a lot of Nike, Adidas, that sort of thing. I do have links for them down in the description below if you want to check them out. And they had given me a few boxes for free so that I could do an unboxing and show you guys what kind of stuff you might get from them. I got this and an identical short sleeve sweater polo, but in a different color. And I just thought they were really nice. I thought they just, again, had a very classic modern look to them. But this sold for $25 on Poshmark. I didn't have any money into them like I explained, so my net profit on that was $20. Also on the 3rd on eBay, I sold this Chico's blue floral sleeveless shift dress in a Chico size 0, which is the equivalent of a US size 4. It did have some stretch to it, and that sold on eBay, blurg, let me look it up.
3 hours later.
And that sold on eBay for $14. I let it go for pretty cheap because I picked that up at a local consignment store in December of 2021. So once you've had something in your possession for like 3 years, you just kind of accept offers, So I only had $1 into that because at that time, that local consignment store was doing a $1 tag sale on items that they had in their store for a while. So my net profit was still $8.89, but not really the kind of flips we're trying to do here, and that was also promoted at 3%. And then I had a string of $0 sales days. My next sale wasn't until Friday, March 7th, and that was over on Poshmark. I sold this team apparel NFL Minnesota Vikings purple glitter logo jersey shirt in a women's size large. Are the Minnesota Vikings good? I don't even know. Is football is over. Like the Super Bowl happened, all that stuff happened. So I don't know why this sold when it did. I'm happy that it did because this was also part of that reseller buyout that I did in June of 2023. But this sold for $13. I had $3.85 into it, so my net profit was $6.20. Also on the 7th on eBay, I sold this pair of Hudson Blake slim straight zip fly jeans in a men's size 38. I put words like casual and stretch and denim in the listing title. Hudson is one of those denim brands that retail for just a stupid amount, like they're very expensive. I have found that Hudson's resale value has gone down so much over the course of like the last 5 years, I would say. But for men, I was curious to see how they would do. So I think I picked up 2 pairs of Hudson jeans in the same style, same size, but just like slightly different washes. And this was the first of the 2 to sell. I got these in May of 2024 and they sold for $29. I had $277 into them because I got them from a local consignment store, I think during a birthday sale. And so that was my average cost of goods for that particular trip. And my net profit was $20.86, which made me happy because that's the profit I'm looking to make per item. Is if I can make at least $20 on an item, I'm pretty happy with that. And then moving on to March 9th, which was a Sunday, I had a good number of sales this particular day. I don't really know what caused it, but I was very thankful for it. On Poshmark, I sold this pair of shoes by the brand Arco Petticoat. I'm not super familiar with it. I just saw these at a local consignment store and thought they look like a comfort clog, which tend to do really well for me. They were just kind of interesting. They seemed very lightweight. I don't know. When things are interesting, a little out there, oftentimes they'll do pretty well for you. So again, the brand was Arco Petticoat and they were the light beige nylon mesh slip-on clogs in a women's European size 38.5. They did have arch support. I picked those up at a local consignment store, like I said, during their 80% off clearance sale. And so I had $6 into them because they were asking like a decent amount for them in the store as well. And they sold for $34, and so my net profit was $21.20. I would pick up that brand again. I would say I got a decent amount of attention on those and they sold pretty quickly. Also on the 9th on Poshmark, I sold this pair of Talbot's Chelsea seersucker blue and white striped ankle pants in a women's size 6. I put the word nautical in the listing title. I just feel like seersucker is very nautical. I don't know where I got these. I don't know why I have no record of where they're from. I'm gonna say again that I had $3 into them, but they sold for $25 and I had a net profit of $17 on those pants. Pretty sure they came from a local consignment store, but just to play it safe, we're saying $3 net profit on those. Another Poshmark sale, and I don't know why this looks so crazy. I think you can see in the listing title, the brand is Chico's, but it came out Chico ampersand, what is this, number sign 39, semicolon, like I don't know why it was written like that, but the brand was Chico's Zenergy leopard print cashmere blend v-neck tunic sweater in a women's size, what? Size, I don't even, oh, the size got cut off because of the crazy Chico's thing that happened to the S. I don't know what happened. Oh, as part of a 3-piece bundle is what it is. And so I'm gonna give you the price of how much each item basically sold for. I'm saying that these sold for $21.17. I had $4.50 into those from a local consignment store. I think it wasn't like Black Friday, but I did get these in November of 2024. It was part of a 75% off tag sale. So $4.50 into them. My net profit was $11.72 on that. The next item in the bundle was this Tommy Bahama blue quarter zip pullover sweatshirt in a men's size extra large. It did have like a parrot embroidered on the chest. That one I'm saying sold for $21.18. I had $2.50 into that from this like very random thrift store in a town about an hour away. I was very confused by this thrift store. I remember going there because I looked up, thrift stores local to me in this town that I was in while my students were in rehearsals for a music festival. And I don't know, I was just so confused. It was a really small thrift store. There were no prices on things. And I remember like finding like 4 or 5 things that I was interested in and talking to the lady who was working and just being like, so I don't understand pricing on things, like I don't see prices. And she's like, oh, you decide, like you can say how much you want to pay for something. And I was like, oh, that seems kind of risky. Like what if someone's like, I will give you $2 for these 20 items, Yeah. And then I don't remember like what the profits went to. Like I feel like the profits really just went to the people who worked there. It was very confusing. So I think I paid $20 for like the 3 or 4 items that I got just because I like felt bad. I don't know. So it says that I paid $2.50 for this. I don't really know how I arrived at that number, but I got this in January of 2024, and so my net profit was $13.73. Tommy Bahama, though, is definitely one of my bread and butter brands when it comes to men's brands. It's a consistent seller for me. It doesn't sell for that much, but I can always count on it to sell. I always, make some decent money off of it, so I continue to pick it up if I can get it for cheap enough. And then the last item in this bundle was this Travelers by Chico's brown animal trim open front cardigan in a women's size 16, or it's like a women's size extra large. So that item I'm saying sold for $17.65. I had $3 into that from a local consignment store's $3 tag sale that I went to at the end of December in 2024. And so my net profit was $10.53. And I think the way that I made this particular bundle sale was I saw that someone had liked all 3 items. I put all of the items in a bundle for her and I said, hey, I saw that you liked a few items. I went ahead and sent you a bundle price for those 3 items plus a shipping discount. So let me know if that works for you. And she said, yep, absolutely. She accepted my offer and I made some money. So that was great to move 3 pieces at once. So let's talk about my sales for this week of sales. I had 2 eBay sales, which I think was like the opposite of the week before. The week before I had sold like 2 items on Poshmark and a bunch on eBay. This week it was 2 on eBay and 7 on Poshmark, but 2 eBay sales resulting in $57.78 in gross sales. My cost of goods for those items was $3.77. And so my net profit from eBay was $29.75, which is pretty sad. But on Poshmark, I sold 7 items for a gross sales amount of $157. I had $22.85 into those 7 items, and my net profit was $100.38. I had 1 Shopify sale for a gross sales amount of $34.95. I hit $6.39 into those Nikes. And so my net profit from my website, which is a Shopify site, was $19.58. So in total this week, I sold 10 items for a gross sales amount of $249.73. I had $33.01 into those items. And so my net profit was $149.71. And so at this point in March, my net sales for the entire year came out to $3,561.46, which takes us into our next week of sales. And we only have 2 more to talk about. They are short. But again, if you want to take a break, if you want to leave a comment about how the sales month of March has been going for you, let me know. I'm very curious to see how March went for you. It went awful for me, and I only have myself to blame. Again, I just was not listing very much. I took a week to go on vacation. It was kind of a horrible month, but hopefully soon you will see a video come out on my YouTube channel. Something along the lines of, I worked as hard as I could for a week. What did it do to my sales? And that week starts today, the day that I'm filming. After I'm done filming, I'm either gonna go downstairs and photograph some clothes, or I'm going to get some of my grow bags planted out, like put some, soil in there and plant out my herbs and stuff. I should probably do the listing, but we'll see. I probably will go downstairs and photograph because, like I said, it is so windy. I just feel like all of that soil is going to just like whip itself in my face. So maybe that'll be the motivation. I need to go down and photograph items so that I can justify making a video called I worked as hard as I could for a week, see what happens. So we'll see. Anyway, let's move on to this next week of sales, in which we'll be talking about March 10th through the 16th. On March 10th, which was a Monday, on Poshmark, I sold this Talbot's pink popover blouse in a women's size medium. I put words like feminine, romantic, career, classic, lots of keywords. And if you feel like my newer listings, which this was a newer listing, if you feel like you're seeing an improvement in my keywords for newer listings compared to, listings from like 2023 or 2022, that's because sometime last year I did discover Resellers Edge University, which is a really cool group / course / so many slashes that Kaylee Elaine and Trash Panda started. And one of the things that they focus on the most is keywords and the importance of using keywords in a thoughtful way to help you sell your items. And the reason for that is because when you get into the psyche of how people shop on Poshmark or on eBay or wherever it is that they're shopping, they're often not shopping by typing the phrase Talbot's pink popover blouse into the search bar. They're searching for like the type of person that they want to be, like the type of person that they want to dress as. They're searching for romantic blouses or feminine tops or feminine career wear. Like those are the kinds of keywords that they're putting in the search bar when they're looking for items, because nowadays, there's been kind of a shift away from searching just for like famous and popular brands, which I'm not saying that that's the case for everyone. A lot of people still want a Canada Goose this or that, or they still want, an Yves Saint Laurent, like whatever. But some people just want a particular style or aesthetic. And that for me is where Resellers Edge University has been really, really helpful. In fact, one of their newest features, they released this thing. I'm going to look it up right now. I have it as a bookmark on my computer, but they have this Google Doc called Keyword Strings. And it's literally where, like, I'm going to just look at the first one. If you look at a piece that you're trying to list and you say, I could use the word romantic to list that item, they have the word romantic and then a bunch of other words that are kind of associated with that particular keyword that you could also use as keywords for that particular listing. And why I think that's so powerful is when you are crafting a listing title for something like this that had just sold this particular day. Again, the item was a Talbot's pink popover blouse. I had put the brand, I had put the color, I had put what it was, I had put the size, it was a women's size medium, and I still had so many characters left over. And what I did was I went to the keyword string doc and I saw the word romantic, and I saw that one of the keyword strings attached to that was the word feminine. I chose the word career because I also thought that this was more of a career piece, as most Talbot's pieces are. I think I also just put the word classic in there. That wasn't part of like the keyword string. But that keyword string document and Resellers Edge University in general has been really helpful in just, again, forcing me to be really thoughtful about the keywords that I use in the listing title and to really think about the psyche of the shopper as they sit down to search for an item that they're looking for and how to ensure that they're going to find my item. And is it a result of my keywords? I don't know, but this item sold in one day. And it wasn't an item that I was particularly excited about listing because it's very basic. It actually had like a couple little flaws to it, maybe some like little snags or pulls or something like that. I like to think though that the keywords that I used had something to do with why it was found so quickly on Poshmark. And it sold for $17. I had $3 into it because I got it at a local consignment store during this like special sale that they did for me. I'll talk about that in a second. And so my net profit was $10.60. I think that where Resellers Edge University shines is in helping people figure out how to sell items that may not be super desirable in and of themselves by themselves. The brand in and of itself just might not be that exciting, but if you have something that is trendy, or if you can talk about an item using keywords that people are looking for today, you up your chances of selling that item. And that has just really kind of changed the way that I source items, and it's changed the way that I list items for the better, I think. So if that's something that you want to check out, I do have links for them down in the description below. It's a great community, one that I'm a part of, and I'd love to hear what you think if you are a part of it. Let me know down in the comments if you feel like it's helped you as much as it's helped me. But like I was sharing, at that particular consignment store, I've shared this story before, but when I went in to shop with my mother-in-law and my mother, the shop owners were really excited to see me because their racks were just really full. And I'm talking they're like regular priced sales racks. And so I actually helped them lighten their racks by looking at all of the little tags that, they make for their consigned items. And they kind of taught me what to look for as far as like the date on the tag was concerned, so that I could pull out the older items and decide if I wanted to purchase it or not. And because of that, kind of because I was like doing a little bit of their work for them, they gave me a special discount, which was basically that they would throw as much clothing as they could in a black garbage bag, and I just paid $50 per bag. So my average cost of goods for that particular trip, I don't know why I wrote down $3 as my purchase price for that item, because I actually paid a lot less, I think, but that's what I put for some reason, and that's fine. I think it was actually like $2.85, but I put $3, whatever. So I'm saying that my net profit was $10.60. Also on Poshmark that day, I sold this pair of Levi's 517 bootcut jeans in a men's size 36 by 30. I put words like casual and denim. I wrote that they were 100% cotton. I put pockets in the listing title. These are the kinds of keywords that I probably wouldn't put now. I would have different keywords that I would have used, but they sold for $25, which was my full asking price. I have a suspicion that they were relisted using Posh or VA, which is why they sold, because these have been listed since like, I want to say 2022, 2023. They've been listed a long time. And I think it was the act of relisting them that kind of put new eyes on them and just kind of freshened up the listing a bit. I had $2 into them. My net profit was $18. Moving on to the 11th of March, which was a Tuesday. On eBay, I sold this Gypsy 05 sand tie-dye tunic. It was like a swim cover, and it was in a women's size small. It had an eyelet lace trim, and this was just a bad sale. I mean, I'll call it what it is. I bought it on Whatnot for $15. I bought it from Jenna at Empty Hanger. I don't know if you know who she is. She's kind of one of the OGs of reselling content. She probably was one of the very first reselling YouTubers that I watched. Her, and do you guys know who Leah Kirchinger is? Leah Kirchinger is another one. I think she was the very first video I ever watched on reselling, and I loved her content. Like, I could not get enough. And then I stumbled across Jenna. Both of these ladies, I believe, are no longer making content about reselling. Jenna, even up until like 2 years ago, I don't know. I haven't heard from her in a while, but I think 2 years ago, I got this from her on a live Whatnot show. I got it for myself. I got it, it arrived at my house, and I was like, okay, I'm not actually gonna wear this or use it. So I went ahead and listed it. And I had it listed pretty high just because I had, actually I had $19.12 into it once you factor in shipping that I paid to get it shipped to me. So I think I had it listed for like $40, $50. Nobody wanted it for that much. I ended up selling it on eBay for $15. And that's after I had $19.12 into it. So I lost, once you factor in eBay fees and shipping and all that, I lost $6.89 on that sale. So what are you gonna do? But I got it home and I was like, I'm just never gonna wear this. So I just decided to go ahead and give it a new home. And then on the 12th of March, which is a Wednesday, on Poshmark, I sold this pair of Madewell, the curvy, perfect vintage jean. They were kind of more light wash, and they were in a women's size 26. They were high rise. So those I had purchased at a local consignment store during their Black Friday 80% off clearance sale. So I only had $4 into them. They sold for $30 on Poshmark very quickly, and so my net profit was $20. And then on the 13th, I had another Whatnot sale. So, this was an item that I just had in my marketplace. I was just so sick of looking at it. I had had it for so long. I think I had it for sale for $10. Someone sent me a $7.50 offer, and I was like, fine, just take it. Just get it out of my house, because I had had this since probably 2021 or something like that. Actually, no, I think before COVID. I definitely had this before COVID, so even longer than that. But it was this Michael Kors black pencil skirt in a women's size 2. Nothing special about it. Like, it was just a very basic black pencil skirt in a smaller size. So I had had this since before COVID. And I know that because I got this from a friend of mine who dabbled in reselling while she lived here. And then she was moving to another state and didn't want to take all of this stuff that she had accumulated for her reselling business with her. So she sold it all to me. I paid $1.50 for each item. And so my net profit was $4.72. But that's the thing, like, once I've listed something, once I've put it in its little Ziploc bag with its inventory number and put it in my bins, like, there's just no reality where I'm gonna like go through my bins and start pulling things out that I want to donate. Like, they already live there, you know what I'm saying? So I've already done the work. I'm just gonna let them hang out until they sell. And that's what I did here. And now I'm a whole $4.72 richer. I can go get myself some fries now. And then on the 15th, which means on the 14th, I had a $0 sales day. But on the 15th, this is when I left for my trip to Austin. And that whole week had been tough in that I had a big event at school on that Thursday, something called Solo and Ensemble, where literally I was just at school till like 10 o'clock in the evening. It was just a really busy time. And then I started my vacation. So on the 15th on Depop, I sold this pair of Keen green suede Mary Jane hiking outdoor casual comfort shoes in a women's size 10.5. When I got the offer on Depop, before I accepted, I told the person, hey, I'm going on vacation. I won't be in town for, like a little over a week. Are you okay that I ship these out to you that late? And they were like, oh, that's totally fine. So, you can do that kind of stuff. You just want to make sure that you communicate with the buyer. Those sold for $40, and I was happy to see those sell because I had just picked them up in January at a Goodwill when my students were at a music conference. They were in rehearsals and stuff. So while they rehearsed, I thrifted. I didn't thrift quite as much this year as I have in years past. And I'm trying to remember why. Part of it was like, I just had so much going on. I also wanted to like work out and stuff. So I remember I like went running and did, more of that sort of thing. I remember I think I filmed in my room, in my hotel room. I don't know. I just had other things I needed to do and thrifting just wasn't a priority. But I had $6.79 into those from that Goodwill and my net profit was $31.05. Keen is one of my very favorite shoe brands to resell. It's also a favorite of my family's just to wear for when we go on vacation and go hiking and stuff. It's just a good quality brand. And then the last sale of the week was on the 16th, which was a Sunday. On eBay, I sold this package of new with tags Adidas super light aero ready sneaker socks. There were 6 pairs. They were like the super no-show and a men's size 6 through 12. Okay, so I'm so confused on this because I sold these. Let's see, how much did the buyer pay for these? I sold these for $11.99. And it looks like I didn't pay anything to ship them. Like this person paid for shipping. I'm gonna look one more time because when I was doing my numbers, I so did pay for shipping. I'm so confused. Okay, I sold these for $11.99. I paid $4.57 to ship these out. So let me change my numbers here, and my numbers are just gonna be wrong in the totals, and I don't really care. $4 and what did I say? $4.57 to ship them out. Yeah, I was gonna say, I definitely paid for shipping. I definitely had to pay to get these shipped out. Okay, give me a second while I get my other stuff updated.
A few moments later.
Those I got from Reseller Supply Co. So I didn't have any money into them and my net profit was $9.72. So for the week, here are my numbers. On Depop, I sold one item for $40. I had $6.79 into it, so my net profit was $31.05. I had 2 items sell on eBay, so my gross sales amount was $36.99. I had $19.12 into those items, and so my net profit was $7.40. I sold 1 item on Whatnot, so my gross sales amount was $7.50. I had $1.50 into that skirt, so my net profit was $4.72. And on Poshmark, I sold 3 items for a gross sales amount of $72. I had $9 into those items and my net profit was $48.60. So in total, I sold 7 items, a gross sales amount of $156.49. My cost of goods was $36.41, and so my net profit was $87.20. I made less than $90 that week of sales. It was so pathetic. So at that point in time, and my numbers are a little bit off because of the ship it, whatever. So I'm going to fix this later, but I'm saying that at that point in time, I had made a net profit of $3,653.23. Yikes-a-ronies. And now we are on our last week of sales that we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to try to fly through them, so here we go. On the 20th of March, which was a Thursday, which means Monday through Wednesday, I had no sales, which makes sense because since I was on vacation, I had put, my Mercari and Poshmark stores on sale. I had changed my shipping and handling time on eBay, and I had just not listed for like weeks and weeks and weeks. So the algorithm for all of my platforms was just really off. But my only sales this particular week were on eBay because everything else was basically shut down. But my first sale on eBay was on the 20th, and it was this Talbot's flawless pair of 5-pocket boyfriend light wash mid-rise jeans in a women's size 10. I got those in August of 2024 at a local consignment store during a $3 tag sale. So I had $3 into those. Those sold for me for $34.99, which was my full asking price. And so my net profit was $28.03, which made me really happy. But then the next sale made me even happier. This next sale took place on Friday the 21st. It was this dress by Tadashi Shoji. It was a black floral lace sleeveless lined runway dress in a women's size 14. This item sold for me for $160, and I had it priced a lot higher, but at this point I was like, okay, $160 offer, I'm just gonna go ahead and take it. I only had $11 into it because I got it in August at a local consignment store during a 75% off tag sale. It was promoted at 3% as well, and my net profit was $121.31. I was so thankful for that sale. Also on Friday, I sold this new with tags Halara Everyday 2-piece activity blue women's extra small dress. I never put the word dress in the listing title. No wonder this took so long to sell. But it was a dress that had like a cutout and it tied in the front. It was bodycon. Honestly, I should have just kept this. It was super cute. I did a partnership a couple years ago with a wholesale company called Bazaar. I went into it kind of knowing that I wasn't going to be super impressed with, the items that I got, just with the whole experience, because it was like this wholesale portal. You got to pick the things you wanted, but it was a lot of brands like Halara, Cider. I can't even remember a lot of the other brands, but they were not like, the most high-end brands. They're kind of like cheaper brands. And then furthermore, I remember I placed an order for the items that I wanted. They had given me credit to use, so it's not like it was my own money, but I placed an order and then like half of the things that I ordered, they didn't actually have in stock. So I had to go back and like select different items, and I had already taken so much time to try to find things. The amount that I had to pay per item from the beginning was already pretty high, and I was just kind of assuming I wasn't gonna make very much money on those items. Plus the market was so saturated with these items. And I think I was just right about everything. This I got, I don't know when I got it. It was like 2 years ago. And I listed those items really fast so that I could show, the process of listing them and selling them and all that kind of stuff. But it took like 2 years to sell. And this item sold for $19.90. That was an offer that I sent to watchers. And I had $14.50 into it. That's how much it would have cost if I were to like pay money for it. That's how much they were charging. And my net profit was 96 cents. So not really a good brand to be on the lookout for, because it's, there's a lot of it out there already on resale markets, new with tags. It's very saturated, but the dress itself is actually really cute. And I kept one of the tops that I purchased from Bazaar for myself by Halara. Really cute, love how it fits. It just isn't gonna get you a lot resale. On the 22nd of March, which was a Saturday, I sold this book, 500 Enameled Objects. It was an enamel crafting book. It was used. I sold it for $11.99. It was promoted at 3%. I got it at a garage sale for $2. My net profit was $4.28 because I ended up having to pay a little bit more for shipping than I thought. I just always assumed that media mail shipping is super cheap, which it is, but it was like over 2 pounds and I just didn't charge enough for shipping. Finally, on the 23rd, which was a Sunday, I sold this dress by Charmant. I had gotten this at a local consignment store during a big special sale that they did for me during COVID, where I paid $50 per bag of clothing. So I had $1.80 into this. It was a brown draped sleeveless dress in a women's size small. I had the word login look in the title. It sold for $6, which I was fine with. And I made a profit of $3.04. And it only took 4 years to sell. So I had 5 sales on eBay. That's all that sold this week. And my gross sales amount was $266.71. I had $32.30 into those items. And my net profit for the week was $157.62. Thank God for that Tadashi Shoji dress. And at this point in March, my net sales total was $3,810.85. That's 5 weeks worth of sales. We are as caught up as we can be. Thank you for watching this super long video. My camera battery died, so I'm filming my outro on my phone, but thank you so much for watching and spending the last however long it's been. I hope I've kept you company during photographing or listing or something. Thank you so much for being a part of my life, for being in my community, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.